Ryan, let's talk about that and more with Obama's deputy campaign manager, Stephanie Cutter. She's over at the scene of tonight's debate at Hofstra University in New York. Stephanie, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let me play for you what Paul Ryan said today about the message that the president will be delivering. Listen to this.
You have to understand, the only way the president thinks he can win is if he can convince you to really dislike Mitt Romney. And so he can win by default. It's all he's got. It's as cynical as it gets, and you're not going to fall for it, are you?
You want to respond to the vice presidential nominee?
Well, I think we are, hours away from a debate. The president is going to lay out, where we've been over the last 4 years, make a passionate case for what we've accomplished, but then lay out where he wants to take the country over the next 4 years. That's the case he's making for re-election. Now, of course, we're running against Mitt Romney. It's not our job to make him unlikable. It's our job to make sure that his record is being accurately presented. And if it makes Mitt Romney unlikable because his policies outsource jobs overseas or that he opposed the auto bailout, then, that's a question for Mitt Romney to answer. But these are legitimate issues to discuss. So we're looking forward to having this conversation tonight.
I suspect he's going to bring up the issue of the bankruptcy now of another electric car company that received, about $250 million in federal money and federal grants, A123 systems. Andrea Saul from the Mitt Romney campaign issued a statement. A123's bankruptcy is yet another failure for the president's disastrous strategy of gambling away billions of taxpayer dollars on a strategy of government-led growth that simply does not work. So the question is, does the president accept some responsibility? Because he made a big deal about this company only a couple of years ago, and now it's going broke.
No. Well, if the question is whether or not we want to cede these industries to India and China, and the president says no, we're not. We're going to develop these industries here in the United States. We're going to invest in clean energy, and that's what he's been doing. Now, Mitt Romney, if he brings it up in tonight's debate, he's got some things to answer for himself. One, his budget completely divests in clean energy, but two, as Massachusetts governor, he had some government investments in energy companies that they went bankrupt. So he has a record that he's going to have to explain. But at the end of the day, the president is not going to cede these industries to India and China. It has to do with America's energy independence, and it has to do with creating good manufacturing jobs here in this country.
On the sensitive issue of Libya and Benghazi, the killing of 4 Americans, including the ambassador, Secretary Clinton, in an interview with CNN, now says she's taking responsibility for the way it's been handled. She stepped up. Some people think she was earlier thrown under the bus. Eric Erickson, the conservative blogger, a CNN contributor, tweeted, right. He wrote today, he said on redstate.com, I do hear that President Obama will let Hillary Clinton tour a tire factory this week so she can at least match a dress to the tire tread, but one way or other, Hillary Clinton is now going under the Obama bus. What did you think of Hillary Clinton's statement?
Well, first of all, Wolf, a tweet from Eric Erickson, being the, objective source that he is about this administration doesn't make it true. Now, the fact that the Secretary Clinton said that she takes responsibility reflects what the president has said. We all take responsibility from the president on down whenever there's a diplomat's life at risk, whenever there's American life at risk. But if you want to take responsibility, if you want to make sure that this never happens again, then you have to do what the administration is doing. You have to investigate how it happened to ensure that it never happens again, and you have to investigate and find the terrorists and bring them to justice. That's what the president, the vice president, Secretary Clinton, the entire national security team is doing. So I imagine this is going to be a topic tonight, and we look forward to having that discussion with Mitt Romney.
I assume it's going to be a topic tonight as well. But what I hear you saying is the president is also taking responsibility, not just the Secretary of State.
Absolutely. He's the president of the United States. Everybody takes responsibility when an American's life is at stake.
There was a real surprising quote from Neera Tanden in New York Magazine. She's the head of the Center for American Progress, a liberal think tank here in Washington, close to the White House. And I'm going to read it to you because it just jolted me when I read about it earlier in the day. People say the reason Obama wouldn't call Clinton is because he doesn't like him. The truth is, Obama doesn't call anyone, and he's not close to almost anyone. It's stunning that he's in politics because he really doesn't like people. Now, Neera has subsequently apologized for that. She said, I was trying to say how President Obama, who I admire greatly, is a private person, but I deeply regret how I said it. I apologize. But, you know, a lot of folks have made the point that the president is aloof. He's not schmoozing with members of Congress enough, all those kinds of points. And I want you to respond to that.
Well, first of all, Wolf, Neera did apologize. Neera is a good friend of this administration. She has a lot to do with the fact that we have health care reform and millions of Americans can now count on their health care. You know, in terms of the president's personality, you know, of course he's not aloof. He has worked across the aisle to get things done, whether it's the payroll tax cut, cutting spending by $1 trillion. At the end of the day, he's about results. And that's his #1 priority.
Did she have a point when she, in her initial statement, which obviously surprised a lot of us?
Well, I think that she clarified that, Wolf. I think she said that what she was trying to get across is that he's a private person.
He is a private person. He's also the president of the United States, and he's going to be in this debate tonight. When you're president of the United States, that privacy, for all practical matters, seems to go away, as all of us know. You've worked for a few presidents, so you appreciate that as well. Hey, thanks very much, Stephanie, for coming in.
Thanks, Wolf.
Stephanie Cutter joining us from the Obama campaign. We heard from Kevin.